Okay, so we're continuing our exploration of the Ampero Stomp 2. And what I wanted to do today was focus in on some higher gain tones and hear how it sounds. So I figured I'd try porting over my kind of 90s EVH preset from the Quad Cortex onto the Ampero. So let's go ahead. We've got an amp. We're using the 5150 here. You can see I got the gain in about 4, pushing the presence, scooping out the mids, but overall pretty straight ahead. And then I'm playing it through an Eddy cabinet. I'm using the 4x12B. So, this one is kind of a modified version of it. I've got the position near center, and I'm using a 421 mic. And I've got a high cut at 6,000. So we're not rolling off too much top end. We want some of that kind of EVH bite on it, but we are rolling some off. And then we're running a split so that we can run a dry path and a wet path. And so the dry path by itself just sounds like this. And you can see I've also got a gate on the front just to keep the noise down. I do wish the Ampero was like the Quad Cortex and you could just build in a gate to the input so you didn't have to burn a slot because there's not very many slots on the Ampero, but just a small nitpick. So kind of a nice, just thick tone. And then on the wet path, we've got a reverb here with a concert reverb. Sounds like this. Turn it on. So not too much reverb. And then we've got a delay. I'm running a dual delay with 500 and 380. Again, not too much ambience. This is a relatively dry tone in terms of delay and reverb. And then for that kind of 90s era Van Halen, he's running that wet, dry, wet with the pitch shifter detunes going on. So I've got a dual detune running here with one at -9 and the other at +9. They're panned left and right, and they have no delay on it. And so when you add that into the wet path, it starts to sound like this. So now we're into that kind of 90s Van Halen, kind of from off of carnal knowledge and that kind of thing. And so that's our main first scene. For the second scene, what we're doing is we're throwing in an EQ boost in the front. So what I'm doing here is I'm pushing the 1K up and giving a little bit of a volume boost and pulling back a little bit of the other frequencies. So just to kind of give a little bit of a mid boost for more of kind of a lead tone. So just kind of a nice kind of a lead boost with a little more mid in it. And then for scene 3, I added in, of course, a phaser. You got to have a phaser. And alternatively, if you wanted to, I've also got a flanger on the back end you could use. So you could kind of use those interchangeably. I've got the phaser on. So nice thick EVH tone. I think it does a pretty good job with the 5150. The one thing I would say is it doesn't roll off the volume very well. Here I got the guitar at about 3. So I wish it would clean up a little bit more, but it's a little bit of a nitpick. It does clean up, just not as much as I would like. So that is the EVH, kind of 90s EVH preset. And along with all the other ones, I'll put this up in the Dropbox folder. The link is in the description. And thanks for watching.